If you are over 60, this message may save your life. Stroke does not always arrive with warning. One moment you feel fine, and the next your body refuses to move. Your words will not form, or your memory slips away. As a neurologist, I have witnessed too many seniors ignore simple daily habits that quietly increase their stroke risk, especially in the morning. The truth is that many strokes could be prevented if only we understood how small routines affect blood flow and brain health. You may think you are living healthy, but one overlooked habit might be damaging your arteries and starving your brain of oxygen. In this complete guide, I will reveal 9 dangerous habits that raise your risk of stroke overnight. Each may seem harmless, but together they form a hidden storm inside the aging body. We will also discuss what warning symptoms you must never ignore, and what safer choices you can make to protect your brain and circulation for years to come. Stroke remains one of the leading causes of long-term disability in older adults, and most people only realize the danger when it is already too late. That is why awareness matters. Stay with me until the end, because even one change you begin tomorrow can dramatically lower your risk. Part 1. Waking and jumping out of bed too quickly. Morning is the most fragile time for the aging brain. After hours of sleep, your body is in a relaxed state. Blood pressure is lower. Circulation is slower, and the brain has not yet fully adjusted to being upright. Yet many seniors wake up and leap from bed in an instant, rushing to begin the day. That sudden movement causes a sharp drop in blood pressure known as orthostatic hypotension. For an older person with stiff arteries or narrowed vessels, the brain may not receive enough oxygen during those first critical seconds. The result is dizziness, fainting, or even a transient ischemic attack, sometimes called a mini-stroke. These events may pass quickly, but they are red flags that a major stroke could soon follow. I recall one patient, a 72-year-old man, who insisted he felt fine each morning until he collapsed twice in the bathroom. Tests revealed that every sudden jump from bed was cutting off blood flow to his brain for just long enough to trigger dangerous symptoms. The solution is simple but powerful. Remain lying down for a minute after waking. Take several slow breaths, then gently roll to your side before sitting. Once seated, pause again to let your blood pressure adjust. Only then should you stand. This transition allows circulation to stabilize, protecting fragile brain vessels from sudden stress. Studies published in journals of geriatric medicine confirm that seniors who rise gradually experience fewer falls, fewer dizzy spells, and a lower rate of morning strokes. It takes less than 2 minutes, but it could save your life. If you often feel lightheaded when getting out of bed, listen to your body. Do not dismiss the warning. Respect your brain's pace, and it will reward you with years of strength and clarity. And if this morning rush is dangerous, the next habit is equally common and equally risky: beginning the day without water. Part 2. Skipping morning hydration. Your brain is nearly 3/4 water. During sleep, you go 6 to 8 hours without drinking, and your body naturally becomes dehydrated. Thickened blood, higher viscosity, and reduced plasma volume all make it harder for the heart to pump efficiently. For seniors, especially those with high blood pressure or diabetes, this morning dehydration is a silent threat. The blood becomes sluggish, pressure rises, and small vessels in the brain are placed under enormous strain. A single skipped glass of water can tip the balance toward clot formation or vessel rupture. Many seniors make the mistake of reaching first for coffee or tea, which act as mild diuretics and worsen the dehydration. I recall a woman in her late 60s who complained of frequent headaches and memory fog each morning. She drank 2 cups of strong coffee before touching water. Once she began drinking a full glass of room temperature water immediately after waking, her symptoms faded within weeks. Research in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition shows that dehydration increases the risk of ischemic stroke, and the effect is magnified when combined with blood pressure medications or diuretics. The remedy is simple: before caffeine, before food, before anything else, drink 1 glass of water, not ice cold, not boiling hot, but comfortably cool or room temperature. This single step rehydrates your brain, thins your blood naturally, and improves circulation to every cell. It is brain fuel that costs nothing but gives everything, even if you do not feel thirsty. Your brain is begging for hydration. Morning water is not optional. It is essential protection. And once you start your day with water, the next decision you make about breakfast can either support or sabotage your brain. Part 3. High sodium breakfast choices. Breakfast is often called the most important meal of the day, but for many seniors it is also the most dangerous. Processed cereals, instant oatmeal packets, cheese-laden eggs, sausages, bacon, and packaged breads are filled with hidden sodium. Excess salt stiffens arteries, raises blood pressure, and places tremendous stress on delicate brain vessels. The morning is when blood pressure naturally surges as your body transitions from rest to activity. Combine that surge with a salty meal, and you create the perfect storm for a vessel to burst or a clot to lodge in a narrow artery. One study from Harvard followed older adults who consumed high-sodium breakfasts. They showed a significantly higher rate of morning hypertensive episodes and stroke compared to those who began the day with low-sodium foods. I remember a patient in his early 70s who insisted on breakfast sausage and canned biscuits each morning. Despite medication, his blood pressure remained uncontrolled until he replaced those items with fresh fruit, boiled eggs, and whole grain toast with avocado. Within 2 months, his pressure stabilized and his energy improved. The alternative is clear. Choose foods naturally low in sodium and rich in fiber. Fresh berries, oats without added flavors, yogurt without excess sugar, or a simple slice of whole grain bread topped with vegetables. Aim for less than 300 milligrams of sodium at breakfast. Read labels carefully, because even heart-healthy products may hide salt. Remember, salt does not just damage the heart, it directly affects blood flow in the brain. By cutting back in the morning, you give your brain the best chance to function clearly and safely all day. And while salt is a hidden threat, the next danger is often sitting visibly in your coffee mug. Part 4. Too much coffee on an empty stomach. Coffee is loved by millions, and moderate amounts can be safe. But for seniors, drinking too much coffee on an empty stomach is a silent hazard. Caffeine stimulates adrenaline release, speeds the heart rate, and constricts blood vessels. This raises blood pressure rapidly and reduces blood flow to the brain. For an older person already dealing with hypertension or atrial fibrillation, this sudden jolt may trigger a mini stroke or dangerous arrhythmia. I treated an older gentleman who consumed 3 cups of black coffee each morning without eating. He often experienced palpitations and occasional slurred speech. Tests revealed transient ischemic attacks likely triggered by his caffeine overload. Once he reduced to 1 moderate cup after a small breakfast and increased water intake, his symptoms resolved. Science confirms what patients show us. Excess caffeine raises cortisol, increases vascular resistance, and places the aging brain under unnecessary stress. The safe approach is clear. Drink water first. Eat a balanced breakfast of protein and fiber, then enjoy one moderate cup of coffee if you wish. Avoid loading it with sugar or artificial creamers, which add inflammation and cholesterol. For those with heart or brain history, consider green tea as a gentler option. Remember, coffee is not the enemy. Timing and moderation are everything. Energize your body. Do not shock it. If fatigue drives your dependence on coffee, look deeper at your sleep quality, hydration, and stress. Protect your brain by respecting its limits. And while coffee misuse is dangerous, the real danger is ignoring the body's warnings when dizziness or weakness appear. Part 5. Ignoring morning dizziness or weakness. One of the most dangerous mistakes seniors make is dismissing dizziness or weakness in the morning as just part of aging. You wake up, feel lightheaded when standing, or notice your arm feels slightly heavy, your speech a bit unclear, or your vision blurred for a few seconds. Many brush it off, blaming poor sleep or fatigue. But these subtle symptoms may be your brain screaming for help. In neurology, we call these transient ischemic attacks, or mini strokes. They last only minutes, sometimes seconds, and disappear quickly. But they are not harmless. They are warnings that a major stroke could strike within hours or days. Ignoring them is like ignoring smoke before a fire. I recall treating a 70-year-old woman who experienced brief slurred speech every morning for 3 days. She assumed it was dehydration. On the 4th day, she collapsed with a full ischemic stroke that left her partially paralyzed. When we reviewed her history, those earlier episodes were clear mini-strokes. If she had acted sooner, much of the damage could have been prevented. The science is clear. Transient ischemic attacks dramatically increase the risk of a major stroke, especially in older adults. The American Heart Association reports that 1 in 3 people who experience a mini stroke will have a larger stroke within 90 days, and half of those occur within the first 48 hours. That is why every moment counts. If you ever wake up with dizziness, sudden weakness, or unusual speech difficulty, do not wait to see if it goes away. Call emergency services immediately. Keep track of these episodes. Write them down. Note the time. And share with your doctor. Even better, use a simple health tracker or journal to log patterns. Remember, the body whispers before it screams. Listening early may save your independence later. Morning dizziness is not a normal part of aging. It is your brain struggling with oxygen supply. Respect it. Respond to it. And never ignore it. And if ignoring dizziness is dangerous, so too is the habit of mishandling medications in the morning. Part 6. Skipping or mismanaging medications. Every day, millions of seniors rely on blood pressure pills, cholesterol drugs, or blood thinners to protect their heart and brain. These medications are not optional. They are shields designed to prevent strokes. Yet, one of the most common and riskiest habits is forgetting them, taking them at the wrong time, or doubling up when unsure. Morning is especially critical. Blood pressure naturally rises as the body shifts from rest to activity. And skipping your pill during that surge leaves your vessels vulnerable. For those on blood thinners like warfarin or newer anticoagulants, missing a dose can allow clots to form that may travel to the brain. On the other hand, doubling up if you forget can cause internal bleeding or dangerously low pressure. I once cared for an older gentleman who often forgot his pills, then took two at once. He ended up in the hospital with severe bleeding in the brain caused by excess anticoagulation. It could have been avoided with a routine system. The solution is simple but vital. Use a pill organizer. Set phone alarms. Or ask a family member to check in daily. Always take your medication with a full glass of water. Never with coffee or tea, because caffeine can reduce absorption and dehydrate you further. And never adjust your dose on your own. If you feel dizzy or fatigued, do not skip the pill. Talk to your doctor instead. Routine saves lives. Imagine your medication as the lock on your brain's door against stroke. Would you leave your house unlocked each morning? Do not leave your brain unprotected. Consistency with medication is one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to prevent stroke. And while skipping pills is dangerous, another surprising morning habit may be just as harmful. 1. Most people never think twice about holding in urine too long. Part 7. Holding in urine too long after waking. It may sound strange, but delaying your morning trip to the bathroom can put serious strain on your brain and blood vessels. When your bladder is overly full, it signals your body to release stress hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones sharply raise blood pressure and constrict blood vessels, creating a dangerous environment for stroke. For seniors with already narrowed arteries, this spike can be catastrophic. A full bladder can also trigger abnormal heart rhythms, especially in those with atrial fibrillation, which may then send clots to the brain. Studies in geriatric medicine confirm that early morning blood pressure surges are one of the highest risk times for stroke. Combine that surge with the added stress of a full bladder, and you have a perfect storm for vessel rupture or clot formation. I remember a patient who often postponed bathroom visits in the morning because she wanted to check her phone or prepare breakfast first. She suffered repeated morning headaches and eventually a transient ischemic attack. Once she changed her routine to use the bathroom immediately upon waking, her symptoms improved. The solution is simple. Do not delay. As soon as you wake, go directly to the bathroom before turning to other tasks. It is not about convenience. It is about protecting your brain from unnecessary pressure. Respect your body's signals. They are not inconveniences. They are warnings. What seems minor may be the very habit that tips the balance toward a stroke. And once you understand these daily triggers, the next step is learning how to protect your brain long-term with safer choices and consistent awareness. Doctor's final words. The truth about stroke is that it rarely happens out of nowhere. It builds quietly over years of ignored signals and repeated habits. Jumping out of bed too quickly, skipping water, eating salty breakfast, overloading on coffee, ignoring dizziness, mishandling medications, or even holding urine too long may each seem small, but together they create a pattern that silently damages your arteries. It stresses your heart and starves your brain of oxygen. The good news is that change is always possible. Each morning gives you another chance to choose differently. Take 2 minutes to rise slowly. Drink a glass of water before anything else. Keep sodium low at breakfast. And enjoy coffee in moderation only after eating. Listen to your body's whispers. Track unusual dizziness or weakness. And never skip or mismanage the medications that protect your circulation. And when nature calls, respond immediately. These are not burdens. They are acts of respect for the body that has carried you through decades of life. As a doctor, I can tell you that your brain still remembers how to heal if you give it the chance. Prevention is not about fear. It is about living with intention. Stroke steals independence, but awareness preserves it. If you have learned even one habit to change from this message, apply it tomorrow morning. Share this knowledge with someone you love, because you may save not only your life but theirs as well. And now I would love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one habit you plan to change. If you found this helpful, comment 1. If not, comment 0. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tips on protecting your brain, your heart, and your future, because your mornings shape your destiny. Respect them, and you give yourself the gift of more years filled with clarity, strength, and independence.